Chapter 1 Introduction to Gematria, the language of the Cabal. You've likely heard the term the Cabal before, meaning a secretive and political organization. The name originates in Kabbalah, an ancient and widely practiced mysticism. A central belief within Kabbalah that we will focus on for the purpose of this book is God created the world with language by combining the number with the letter with the word. This is expressed in the foundational text of Kabbalah, the Sefer Yetzirah, or in English, the Book of Formation. In its opening paragraph, it states, in reference to God creating the world, He created His universe by three forms of expression: numbers, letters, and words. This belief about creation from the Book of Formation is in line with the beginning of the Holy Bible, that begins with Genesis, where God speaks the world into existence over the course of 6 numbered days, before resting on the 7th day and making it holy. Ahead we'll touch on the number 7 and it being holy because it is an important concept to understand. For now, please recognize that both God and Genesis begin with G, the 7th letter of the English alphabet. In Kabbalah, the practice of coding numbers into words is known as Gematria, meaning geometry in language. Gematria is very popular in Hebrew studies and in ancient Greek studies, where it is known as isopsephy. If you are familiar with Revelation 13:18 from the concluding book of the Holy Bible, it is a Greek isopsephy riddle. In the NIV Bible, the verse reads, "This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. In this chapter, we will uncover that wisdom, and in the chapters ahead, we will use it to understand who the Cabal is, for what purpose they are working towards, and why they have encoded the number 666 into world-changing events, including September 11, 2001, and the coronavirus pandemic of 2020, as well as some smaller but related rituals, including the premature death of basketball superstar Kobe Bryant. To begin to understand the wisdom of Gematria and how the English language is encoded with it, we will start with the most straightforward cipher known as Simple English Gematria, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and so on. Counting each letter as a number using the alphabetical order up to Z, the 26th letter, is 26. The Simple English Gematria cipher is as follows. Simple English Gematria, also known as Ordinal Gematria. Using Simple English Gematria, notice each of the words in the cipher name equate to 74. Simple, English, and Gematria all equal 74. Gematria is about pairing words together that have matching numerical values and logical relationships. For example, notice how Jesus, Messiah, Gospel, Parables, and Cross each equate to 74, as well as a very special number, as we will come to understand. If you are not familiar with the Gospel, it is the story of Jesus, and when Jesus speaks within it, He does so in parables. Jesus, Messiah, Gospel, Parables, and Cross all equal 74. Paying mind to the fact that Gematria is a component of Kabbalah, and the purpose of studying Kabbalah is to better understand the nature of God, the relevance of 74 can be understood by observing a Jewish rule about writing the name of God, a name that is best written G-D, as a form of respect, unless it is written while studying the Torah or in prayer. You'll notice G is the 7th letter, and D is the 4th. Thus, G-D is 7-4, and not by chance. The word Jewish equates to 74, using Simple English Gematria too. Jewish equals 74. For another 74, the spiritual leader of Islam, Muhammad, is a name equating to 74, and sadly, it is no coincidence that Muhammad Ali died at age 74. June 3, 2016, when it is widely believed that the Prophet Muhammad died at age 63. Consider June 3rd is expressed 6 7/3, similar to 63, and further, 2016 is the 63rd triangular number, meaning that when 1 through 63 are added together, the total sums to 216. If you were following me in 2014, I predicted that Muhammad Ali would die at the age of 74 because of the significance of the number. Sadly, I was right. Muhammad equals 74. Another spiritual leader to some is Lucifer, summing to 74 as well, and referred to as the morning star, not unlike Jesus. Lucifer equals 74. Building on our understanding of 74 and how it is used ritualistically, we need to look no further than the Freemasons, one of many Masonic orders that are based in Kabbalah, among other occult teachings. As we decode the 74s in Masonic and occult, keep in mind you must believe in G-D to become a member of the Freemason Brotherhood. Also keep in mind the deceased Freemason and Confederate Army War General Albert Pike made numerous mentions of Lucifer in his text, Morals and Dogma, that was immortalized in Washington, D.C., known as the Masonic City, in a statue of Albert Pike holding the book, until it was toppled in the wake of George Floyd protests, only for Donald Trump to declare it to be re-erected. Masonic and occult both equal 74. For the record, modern Freemasonry began in London, England, the year 1717. London equals 74. In light of the relevance of 74, it is not reported in history books by accident that the Freemason and first recognized President of the United States of America, George Washington, had 74 generals. It is also not an accident that the Disney film about the Freemasons, National Treasure, begins in the year 1974. Nor is it an accident that the United States date of independence is July 4th, a date that is written in the U.S. as 7/4. Adding to the relevance of the number, you'll observe that holiday equates to 74. Holiday equals 74. Holiday means holy day, and as was mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, the number 7 is associated with being holy. In light of what we have uncovered so far about 74, consider that 7 is the 4th prime number, and the divisors of 4 sum to 7. For a little math reminder, prime numbers are those that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. As for divisors, those are numbers that divide into a number. For example, the only numbers that divide into 4 are 1, 2, and 4, and when added together equate to 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 7. And if you're wondering at this point if it is an accident that the 4th book of the Holy Bible is titled Numbers, the answer is no. Coming back to the 4th of July, as you might be aware, the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th Presidents of the United States, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, each died on July 4th. Adams and Jefferson both died July 4, 1826, and then 1,826 days later, James Monroe died on July 4, 1831. What makes this all the more chilling is that the word killing has simple English gematria of 74. And on the subject of killing, I would encourage you to look up the lyrics to the song Gematria, the Killing Name, by the band Slipknot, as well as the song Murder by Numbers by the band The Police, where killing is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. I would also encourage you to think about how the giving and taking of life is God's work. But as we will discuss in the pages ahead, there is an organization of people using this code to play God, who for now we will simply call the Cabal. Killing equals 74. Adding to the killing riddle, the Gregorian calendar that we go by now pays tribute to the fatal stabbing of Caesar on the Ides of March, March 15th, the 74th day of the year. Stabbing equals 74. As you will learn, killing rituals centered on the number 74 are quite common. In later chapters, we will discuss the drowning death of Naya Rivera in great detail, but for now, you can know that it was no accident she posted a photo of herself in a Jim Morrison t-shirt on her Instagram page, February 7, 2019, precisely a span of 74 weeks before her July 8, 2020 death. This is because Jim Morrison was found dead in a bathtub, equating to 74, the same as the word drown, and please keep in mind that Jim Morrison was found by his girlfriend, Pamela Corson, who would end up dying in 1974 at the same tragic age as Jim Morrison, 27. Another number we will learn more about as we progress through the pages of this book. Bathtub and drown both equal 74. In case you're getting the idea, maybe a lot of words happen to sum to 74, I'll have you know that out of 50 states, only one sums to 74, in simple English gematria, and that is the 33rd state, Oregon. This is similar to how it is written in history books that George Washington had 74 generals, and 33 of them were Masons. It also reminds us that Jesus was put on the cross at age 33, according to most teachings about his crucifixion. And yes, we will learn much more about the number 33 in great detail in the chapters ahead. Its understanding is essential, and it is connected to why the actress Naya Rivera died at age 33 by drowning, as well as why Herman Cain, once a U.S. presidential candidate, died a span of 33 weeks from his 74th birthday, having been born December 13, 1945, and having died July 30, 2020. As you'll learn, the pattern of 33 and 74 coming together is extremely repetitious, and when it is used in killing, the cause of death that is typically reported is false, such as Herman Cain's, which was blamed on coronavirus. Oregon equals 74. Star OR, Oregon State abbreviation, equals 33. Coming back to the 4th of July is another important abbreviation that can be made about the date written 7/4 and the number 74 by running the alphabetic order in reverse, a method known as reverse simple English gematria. Using this cipher, the word free sums to 74, and July 4, 1776 is reportedly the date that the United States made itself free from England, the king and the crown, the latter of which is banking cartel out of the city of London, whose flag is a red cross, and being an independent territory that is located in the center of the 33 sections that London is divided into. Now, without further ado, the reverse simple English gematria cipher. Reverse simple English gematria, reverse ordinal. Let us now decode the word free using this cipher. Free equals 74. Using this same cipher, the word Roman sums to 74. And as they say, all roads lead to Rome, including the ones that the city of London were built upon, what was once a strategic Roman trading post. As we decode the word, keep in mind the Gregorian calendar was given to us by the Roman Catholic Church. The same calendar pays tribute to the killing of Caesar by stabbing on the 74th day of the year. And a little further ahead, we'll decode the 74 in Roman Catholicism. Roman equals 74. In light of the Albert Pike statue we referenced earlier, it should be noted that it fell on June 19th, 2020, the 171st day of the leap year, corresponding with the name Albert Pike, equating to 171 with reverse simple English. Furthermore, consider that Juneteenth is to remember the emancipation of enslaved people at the conclusion of the U.S. Civil War that has been celebrated since June 19, 1865, and Albert Pike was a Confederate war general. As you'll begin to understand as we move ahead, this was not an accident, but a symbolic ritual, and what we will come to know as a number game. Albert equals 104. Pike equals 67. Albert Pike equals 171. And for further proof of the ritual and who was responsible for the statue coming down, using the exact same cipher, Freemasons equates to 155, and June 19th, 2020, when the statue fell, was the 155th anniversary of Juneteenth. Keep in mind, the House of the Temple, the Freemason headquarters in Washington, D.C., pays tribute to Pythagoras, who said everything is number. Freemasons equals 155. Coming back to the 4th of July, we'll now examine how the name Independence Day, as it is called in the United States, equates to 74. To calculate this value, we'll use what is arguably the most important cipher, known as Pythagorean Gematria, also referred to as reduction gematria. It is based on the alphabetic order and incorporates the rules of numerology. You will notice A through I are 1 through 9 in this cipher, the same as simple English gematria, and the change begins with J, the 10th letter, that in numerology terms becomes 1 plus 0 equals 1, followed by K, the 11th letter, that becomes 1 plus 1 equals 2, followed by L, the 12th letter, that becomes 1 plus 2 equals 3, and so on, up to Z, the 26th letter, becoming 2 plus 6 equals 8. Pythagorean Gematria, also known as reduction gematria. Let us now decode Independence Day into 74. Independence equals 62, day equals 12. Independence Day equals 74. Using Pythagorean Gematria, alphabetic order and numerical language each equate to 74 as well. Alphabetic equals 41, order equals 33. Alphabetic order equals 74. Numerical equals 42. Language equals 32. Numerical language equals 74. In this cipher, Roman Catholicism also sums to 74. Roman equals 25. Catholicism equals 49. Roman Catholicism equals 74. And for a well-remembered U.S. president summing to 74 in Pythagorean Gematria, try Richard Nixon, who resigned in 1974 on the date August 9, exactly 212 days after his January 9 birthday. I bring up the 212 days because if you decode the name of the man who replaced him, Gerald Rudolph Ford Jr., you'll notice it sums to 212, using simple English gematria. Richard equals 43. Nixon equals 31. Richard Nixon equals 74. To build further on your understanding of how 74 and 33 come together, Regis Philbin equates to 74 with Pythagorean Gematria, and his death on July 24, 2020, was a span of 33 days from his August 25th birthday. Beyond that, every article written about his death at age 88 mentioned that his hit show Live with Regis and Kathy Lee began in 1988. In other words, the mainstream media's reporting was letting those who with eyes to see his demise was a number game. With the use of simple English and Pythagorean Gematria, you can begin to appreciate why the English language is made up of 26 letters. By no coincidence is it that God and letter equate to 26. Using these two ciphers respectively, and on the subject of 26, I would encourage you to read the first chapter of my first book, Letters and Numbers, to learn more about all that dazzles when it comes to the number 26. A number that will be discussed extensively in the pages ahead, as we expose those who are truly playing God over humanity by the Gematria Code. That again is based in Kabbalah, a spiritual mysticism, in tribute to God. God equals 26, simple English Gematria. Letter equals 26, Pythagorean Gematria. Another related word summing to 26 using Pythagorean Gematria is crusade. This matters because the story goes that during the time of the Crusades, the Knights Templar, who are the holy warriors of the Catholic Church and its Pope, secured the knowledge of Kabbalah after successfully sieging Jerusalem in the year 1099, before bringing it back to the Church. Thus, it was the Crusades that that led to the Roman Catholic Church's understanding of what is considered God's code, and by tracing through history. As we did in my first book, it appears the Church has been operating by this code ever since. Case in point, it's no accident that the most recent Crusades of the Holy Lands began October 7, 2001, 26 days after September 11, 2001. And for the person reading who does not yet understand the connections between the Catholic Church and the United States, as well as its military, that is just ahead. We'll also uncover more about the October 7, 2001 invasion in the pages ahead, a clear Templar ritual. Crusade equals 26. Once again, it is a belief held within Kabbalah that numbers, letters, and words are the magic of the world, and the basis of creation, as well as the existence of all things. In light of this belief, consider the meaning of the word spell, and its associations with the crafting of words as well as magic. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse and use the rules of numerology, the word spell also equates to 26. Spell equals 26. This method is known as reverse Pythagorean Gematria, or reverse reduction Gematria. And the cipher is as follows. Reverse Pythagorean Gematria, also known as reverse reduction Gematria. Using this cipher, names such as George Washington and Jesus Christ equate to 74, pairing perfectly with what we learned earlier about George Washington, the Masonic leader, and his 74 generals, as well as Jesus, Messiah, Gospel, parables, cross, and their simple English gematria values, each equating to 74. George equals 24, Washington equals 50, George Washington equals 74. Jesus equals 34, Christ equals 40, Jesus Christ equals 74. Another name summing to 74 with this cipher is William III. He is the man responsible for making the city of London an independent territory within London and the nation of England, a nation summing to 33 using reverse Pythagorean, with the Tonnage Act that we will discuss more ahead. As we decode, don't forget that London is divided into 33 areas, or that it sums to 74 using simple English gematria. And relating to this pair of numbers, so often found together, please know that ahead we'll discuss Boris Johnson ending up in the ICU, an acronym summing to 33 with simple English. From coronavirus on April 6, 2020, 74 days before his 56th birthday, June 19, 2020. And how the media tracked every last detail of his status in the ICU on April 7th, a date that is written 7/4 in the UK. It will tie in with how it was reported that the Global Vaccine Summit hosted in London on June 3rd and 4th, 2020 raised at least $7.4 billion, and that $330 million of that sum was pledged by the United Kingdom itself. It will also tie in with how Vera Lynn died on June 18, 2020, 74 days after Queen Elizabeth referenced her song, We'll Meet Again, in a rare address to the world, April 5, 2020, on the subject of the coronavirus pandemic. William III equals 74. England equals 33. The ciphers you have now learned make up 4 parts of what are one system, and we will refer to them as the base ciphers of the English language. In the chapters ahead, we will use these 4 ciphers to unlock the riddles that have been laid down by the Cabal over the centuries, connecting world-shifting events with a focus on September 11, 2001, and the coronavirus pandemic of 2020. As we will soon get to, it is no accident that the World Trade Centers collapsed on the 74th Meridian West in Manhattan, New York, after standing for 33 years, just the same as it is no coincidence that a simulation was conducted for a coronavirus outbreak and pandemic on October 18, 2019, the day leaving 74 days left in the year, in the lone month having a gematria value of 33, and both events taking place in New York, a state having reverse Pythagorean gematria of 33. New York equals 33 reverse Pythagorean. October equals 33 Pythagorean. Regarding the date of the simulation, October 18, 2019, it happened to be the same day the Military World Games began in Wuhan, China, a contest that originated in Rome. Keep in mind, this date was prior to any deadly case of coronavirus being reported in Wuhan or the world, something that would occur in the next month, November of 2019. And in light of this book being titled Number Games, we will uncover why the coronavirus outbreak simulation was named Event 201. In Chapter 4, no doubt a tribute to the Jesuit order who serves the Catholic Church out of Rome. It is something that can be only understood and proven through having the wisdom and knowledge of Gematria. For now, to further build on the relevance of 74 and to give you a bit of a preview on the 4th chapter, I'll have you know that one of the co-sponsors of the Event 201 was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, an organization that has their headquarters directly across the street from the 74-acre Seattle Center, the home of the Space Needle, that is located on the 47th parallel north. This becomes all the more interesting when you realize that the first case of coronavirus confirmed in the United States was done so in Bill and Melinda Gates' backyard, Sonoma County, Washington. And between the couple and the location, we have two more 74s for our list. Bill equals 17, and equals 10, Melinda equals 31, Gates equals 16. Bill and Melinda Gates equals 74. Snohomish equals 48, county equals 26. Snohomish County equals 74. From the decode above, you can gather the name Bill Gates sums to 33, and it is no accident he was the head of Microsoft for precisely 33 years, or that Microsoft became a public company on March 13, 1986. His 137th day of his age, 137, is the 33rd prime number. For another March 13th in his history, he stepped down from his board positions at Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway on March 13, 2020, 137 days after his birthday. From the decode above, you can also gather that Melinda Gates sums to 47, the reflection of 74, reminding us that Seattle is on the 47th parallel north, and the Microsoft HQ was relocated to Redmond, Washington, also on the 47th parallel north, on February 16, 1986, the 47th day of the year. Prior to that, it was headquartered in New Mexico, the 47th state, home of the 1947 Roswell incident, something we'll touch on later. Now, to bring even more greater clarity and to shed more light on who the Cabal is and how they've encoded the English language, let us connect a few more important dots. We'll begin with the fact that the oldest known record of the English language traces back to the monk Brightfirth of Ramsey Abbey in England, and the year 1011. His alphabet looked a bit different than the one we're familiar with today. It was as follows: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, X, Y, Z, and some Greek symbols. You'll notice that J, U, and W of the modern English alphabet are missing, and we no longer use the glyphs from the end. Thus, the letters of Brightfirth's alphabet were borrowed from Latin, the language of ancient Rome, and the civilization that the Catholic Church originates from. In light of this fact, consider that the letters of Latin are used for words as well as numbers through the practice of Roman numerals. In other words, English has Roman Catholic origins and is based in a language that has alphanumeric qualities. With that in mind, consider that English was being standardized with the 26-letter alphabet and agreed to spellings we use today at the end of the 16th century, the same time the Gregorian calendar was making its debut in October of 1582. A calendar system that was given to us by the Catholic Church, and more specifically, Pope Gregory XIII. As we have briefly touched on thus far, and as we will come to better understand with more examples, the English language and the Gregorian calendar are perfectly in tune with one another. If you are new to this work, this is something I have been proving daily, no exaggerating, for 7 years straight, every single day, and it is something you will be able to prove daily for the rest of your days, so long as the Cabal remains in power. To build our understanding of how Gematria and dates come together, let's examine the 3 independent city-states that exist within larger nations that are the locations from where the Cabal rules. As you might guess, they all have connections to Rome. They are Vatican City in Italy, a spiritual center established February 11, 1929, Washington, D.C., what was formerly a part of the Catholic colony, thus why it is between Virginia and Maryland, think Virgin Mary, and is now a military center that is named after a Masonic war general, where the cornerstone for its development was laid September 18, 1793, before becoming an independent territory on February 21, 1871, and the City of London within London, the most powerful banking center in the world, originally built within the fortified walls that were erected by the Romans, who once used as a trading post. It should also be noted that the City of London is where modern Freemasonry was established, June 24, 1717, not long after becoming an independent territory on July 27, 1694. Beginning with the Vatican, the name sums to 47, with reverse Pythagorean gematria, same as Francis, the first Jesuit pope, and similar to how Christian and confession sum to 47 with Pythagorean gematria. The date the Vatican was established, February 11, can be written 2\11, similar to the number 211, the 47th prime number. Regarding the number 47, if you have the time, watch the film The Two Popes, about the process of Pope Francis becoming the 266th Pope. You'll notice in the beginning of the movie, when he loses the cardinal's vote, the first number shown in the election count is 47. Vatican, Christian, Confession, and Francis all equal 47. The date of Vatican City's establishment, February 11th, can be also expressed as 11\2, similar to 112, a number connecting to the gematria of Catholicism, using the simple English cipher. Furthermore, the Jesuits who operate within the Catholic Church serve 112 countries, and the word Jesuit itself sums to 42, using reverse Pythagorean gematria, not unlike how February 11th is the 42nd day of the Gregorian year. Catholicism equals 112. Jesuit equals 42. Also noteworthy on the subject of the Jesuits and the date February 11th, it can be expressed as 2\11, similar to 211, corresponding with the simple English gematria of the phrase Jesus, Savior of Men, summing to 211. A Jesuit motto that is often expressed in Latin as Ecce Hominum Salvator, equating to 266 with reverse simple English, and connecting to the fact that Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, and he is the 266th pope in the history of the Church, one of many mind-blowing facts to come. You should also know that the number 266 is one that we will discuss often in the pages ahead, regarding a diversity of topics, ranging from Mike Pence being made the coronavirus czar on February 27, 2020, his 266th day of his age, to the death of Lisa Marie Presley's son on his 266th day of his age. In Calabasas, not long after the death of Kobe Bryant in Calabasas, 266 days after his wife's birthday, while traveling from Catholic Mass. For one last point on the Vatican's February 11th establishment, the 42nd day of the Gregorian year is not by chance that when using simple English gematria, mathematics sums to 112 and math sums to 42. And at this point it should be very clear to see the hidden math of the English language is the name of the game. As we decode, consider that 1 plus 1 equals 2, similar to 112, and the New Testament begins with Matthew and the 42 generations to Jesus. Mathematics equals 112. Math equals 42. New equals 15. Testament equals 27. New Testament equals 42, Pythagorean gematria. On the subject of 42, it is wise to consider that the Catholic Church built its fortune by literally selling the Savior with indulgences, a title summing to 42 in reverse Pythagorean gematria, as a means for mankind to escape purgatory and hell for their committed sins. Not by chance, sin sums to 42 in simple English gematria, and that is likely to an ancient Egyptian teaching known as the 42 Laws of Ma'at, or sometimes called the 42 Confessions. They begin with, I have not committed sin. Sin and Savior both equal 42. For another gematria nugget, when you write out the word 42, it sums to 74, with reverse simple English gematria. Let us not forget the connection with Jesus, the Savior, and 74. 42 equals 74. Star. This value of 74 is only possible because of the lack of U in 40, a rule that is taught in American English, but is inconsistent in the English language overall, given that 4 is spelled with a U, as is 14 and 400. You will notice that 40 sums to 84 with simple English, and United States sums to 40 with Pythagorean, and United States of America to 84 with Pythagorean, tying in with US summing to 40 with simple English. In chapters ahead, 84 is a number you'll learn much about. Before transitioning to the next city-state, Washington, D.C., this is an opportune time to remind us about Andrew Yang, who was a presidential hopeful in the United States, whose slogan was MATH, standing for Make America Think Harder, before dropping out of the race February 11, 2020, the 42nd day of the year, most mathematical day in the entire Gregorian calendar year. In addition to mathematics, his name Andrew Yang also sums to 112, using the simple English gematria cipher. As we decode, know that in the pages ahead, we'll expose the U.S. federal government for what it is, a puppet show, organized by a mathematical scheme where even the candidates in these predetermined selection processes are on strings. For example, it's no accident that Yang is of Chinese ancestry, and he campaigned on the radical concept of giving people $1,000 per month so that they can be phased out of employment due to technology and automation, just prior to the Chinese virus, as Donald Trump called it. That led to the shutting down of much of the U.S. economy and the giving away of $1,200 in fiat currency to every working U.S. adult, including those who were determined to be non-essential. What it was a very sick joke from the Cabal, who does intend to phase us out with the technology they've been developing systematically, not only to replace us, but to control us, and have surveillance over us more and more with each passing day. These are things we will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt in the coming chapters, because this agenda is being achieved by the code. Andrew equals 65. Yang equals 47. Andrew Yang equals 112. Let us now move on to Washington, D.C., the city-state named after George Washington, a favored person of the Catholic Church because he was tolerant of their operations in the time after the Protestant Reformation, and he was a man who laid the cornerstone for the city on the date of September 18, 1793, a date having very relevant numerology corresponding with the gematria of the name of the city, including 47. Before decoding the relevant gematria, we will take a moment to decode the date numerology using 4 different methods, all of which are important, just the same as the 4 ciphers you have learned to decode the English language with. These methods are as follows, so be sure to study and use the same steps on all dates you decode going forward, just as we will now do with September 18, 1793, the 261st day of the year. leaving 104 days remaining. 9 plus 18 plus 17 plus 93 equals 137. 9 plus 18 plus 1 plus 7 plus 9 plus 3 equals 47. 9 plus 1 plus 8 plus 1 plus 7 plus 9 plus 3 equals 38. 9 plus 18 plus 93 equals 120. Connecting to the date numerology, you will notice Washington, D.C. sums to 137. Using simple English gematria, D.C. sums to 47. Using reverse simple English, Washington, D.C. is located on the 38th parallel north, plus the word Kabbalah sums to 38 in simple English. It also sums to 38 using Hebrew gematria, and the word Illuminati sums to 120 using simple English, similar to how Inauguration Day for U.S. presidents is January 20 or 1/20. Regarding the Illuminati, they were established May 1, 1776, as a Masonic order by Adam Weishaupt, who was Jesuit trained. We'll touch more on their establishment date ahead as another proof of how the numerical value of words sync with dates of the year, as well as their numerology values. Washington, D.C. equals 137. Illuminati equals 120. Kabbalah equals 38. D.C. equals 47. Regarding the number 137, there are a few things you should know. For starters, government sums to 137 with reverse simple English gematria, as does White House, and authority sums to 137 with simple English gematria, as does morals and dogma. The Masonic text authored by Albert Pike that we referenced earlier that pays tribute to Freemasonry being based in Kabbalah. Furthermore, 137 is the 33rd prime number, and all of the following words have Pythagorean gematria of 33. As we decode, keep in mind George Washington was a 33rd degree Freemason, who now has a 333-foot Masonic memorial built in his honor in Alexandria, Virginia. Not to mention the House of the Temple, the Scottish Rite HQ in Washington, D.C., has 33 columns on the outside that are each 33 feet tall, and not by accident. Masonry, federal, secrecy, and order all equal 33. To give you a recent example of how the numbers 33 and 137 come together in ritual, or what I often refer to as number games, consider the story of 33-year-old Naya Rivera's dead body being recovered in a lake on July 13, 2020, a date that can be expressed as 13/7, like 137. Furthermore, she was a star of the hit TV show Glee, and 7 years earlier, in the 7th month, July, the first member of the hit TV show was found dead, a young man named Corey Monteith, on July 13, 2013. Even further, when Rivera's body was discovered, it made her the third member of the show to tragically die young, factoring in with her age of demise, 33. Also factoring in, she had starred in the 33rd episode of the show Devious Maids, that aired July 13, 2015, where she dies in the episode, and she had also starred in the 2014 film At the Devil's Door, where she wears a red sweater with, of course, the number 33 on it. In light of the title of the film, it is important to remember that where she drowned, Lake Piru, is a name related to the word devil. That is because in Finnish, Piru is a word for devil. Next, for a relevant history lesson on the Illuminati, George Washington penned a letter to a named William Russell, September 28, 1798, expressing his concerns about the Illuminati and their plans to overturn all religion and government through the means of conspiracy. Regarding conspiracy, the Illuminati was established by Adam Weishaupt on May 1st for this very reason. Notice the value of his name in light of conspiracy, and even the stereotypical insult for truth seekers. That is so often tinfoil hat using Pythagorean gematria for each. Adam equals 10. Weishaupt equals 41. Adam Weishaupt equals 51. Conspiracy and tinfoil hat both equal 51. As you can gather, they all sum to 51, much like the date May 1st, or 5/1. If you're like me, the number 51 should remind you of the well-known location that is often located with conspiracy, Area 51. And speaking of Area 51, for those who contend Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing there, you should know that the word moon sums to 51, with reverse simple English. It was for this reason SpaceX reportedly launched the first private rocket to dock at the International Space Station, May 30, 2020, 51 days before the 51st anniversary of the moon landing. Keep in mind, that launch was scheduled for 3/22 EST. And Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati, died November 18, 1813, the 322nd day of the year. An infamous number we will learn more about later in relation to Skull and Bones, an offshoot of the Bavarian Illuminati. The number 51 also connects to the riddle of Naya Rivera, a name equating to 51 with Pythagorean, the same as Lake Piru with reverse Pythagorean, as well as the words just the two of us with Pythagorean, the latter being the words she left on her final social media post on Instagram just before her reported drowning, that we will discuss in even greater detail in the chapters ahead. So no doubt, the next time someone throws the programmed stereotype at you, tinfoil hat, or mocks you for referencing the Illuminati, you'll have some gems to drop on them. And don't be surprised if that often regurgitated insult is hurled at you for sharing the incredible knowledge of Gematria. Should you experience this treatment from anyone, remember this language is for people with wisdom, something that most people don't have and are seemingly incapable of, almost as if they are under a spell. Very possible because of the lifelong programming they've been subjected to through popular media, most of which is produced by the Cabal. In other words, you are blessed. So know that, truly. Back on the subject of the United States capital city. It should be noted that prior to the cornerstone being laid, Washington was first recognized as a territory on July 16, 1790, a date with numerology of 130, corresponding perfectly with the simple English gematria of Washington, also summing to 130. 17 plus 16 plus 17 plus 90 equals 130. Washington equals 130. Furthermore, the July 16th date of establishment was 144 days after George Washington's February 22, 1790 birthday. This matters because the United States of America sums to 144 with reverse Pythagorean gematria. The name also sums to 261 with simple English gematria, and the date the cornerstone was laid, September 18, 1793, was the 261st day of the year. It is also for this reason that the US dollar bill is 2.61 inches tall. Even further, if you use Pythagorean gematria, the name the United States of America summed to 99, and the United States of America was named as such on September 9, 1776, emphasis on 9/9. To take it further, the nation began with 13 colonies that are represented in the 13 stripes of the US flag. And if you write out 13, it has a simple English value of 99. This connects to the fact that the Bavarian Illuminati was established with 13 families on a date with 99 numerology, May 1, 1776. Furthermore, from their establishment to the naming of the United States of America, September 9, 1776, was a span of 132 days, not unlike the number of rooms in the White House. The distance of 132 days matters because the United States of America sums to 132, with reverse Pythagorean gematria, when you leave the out. For another 132, Catholic Church equates with simple English, and for another parallel to the Church, the date the cornerstone was laid, September 18th, leaves 104 days in the year, and Roman Catholic Church equates to 104, with reverse Pythagorean. similar to how 7/4/1776 has 104 numerology, as follows. 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 equals 104. Thus it is another reminder that all roads do lead to Rome and the Church. Now let us practice decoding. The equals 15. United equals 28. States equals 12. Of equals 12. America equals 32. The United States of America equals 99. 13 equals 99. 5 plus 1 plus 17 plus 76 equals 99. You'll notice that if you leave the out, United States of America sums to 84 with Pythagorean gematria, in light of the naming of the country being well coordinated with the establishment of the Bavarian Illuminati that was founded by Adam Weishaupt, a trained Jesuit, an operative of the Catholic Church. It should come as no surprise that Jesuit sums to 84 using simple English, and the title of the Jesuit leader, Superior General, sums to 84 using Pythagorean. Furthermore, if you write out the Catholic Church, it sums to 84 in Pythagorean, and the Jesuit order sums to 84 using reverse Pythagorean. Jesuit equals 84, Superior equals 49, General equals 35, Superior General equals 84. The equals 15, Catholic equals 35, Church equals 34. The Catholic Church equals 84. The equals 12, Jesuit equals 42, Order equals 30. The Jesuit Order equals 84. If you've read George Orwell's 1984, you might be starting to understand why he chose the year for the title of his novel, and if you've seen the film based on the book, you're very familiar with the red and black color theme. They are colors of the Jesuits, and this same color scheme is used in another important and related film that is based in a 1984 setting, V for Vendetta, where the main character wears a Guy Fawkes mask, and Guy Fawkes was a Jesuit. As a heads up, the number 84 is one that will come up repetitively in the chapters ahead regarding the Jesuits, and will surely be one to continue to come up as time goes on. Case in point, as I am finishing this book, it has been reported on May 20, 2020, that the former Jesuit Superior General has died at age 84. To understand why he died on the date he did, look no further than the fact that May 20th leaves 225 days in the year, and his birth name, Adolfo Nicholas, sums to 225 with reverse simple English gematria. Even more, he died on the 191st day of the current Superior General's age. Arturo Sosa, who was born November 12, 1948, and Society of Jesus sums to 191 using simple English gematria. If you're not aware, the official name of the Jesuit order is the Society of Jesus. As for Sosa being 71 years old at the time of Nicholas's death, that ties in perfectly with the next point that needs to be made about the history of Washington, D.C. and its significant dates. On February 21, 1871, Washington, D.C. became an independent city-state with the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871. The act merged the town of Washington and the Jesuit territory of Georgetown into one self-governing territory. This was done as a means to invite international investment due to the territory becoming impoverished, and some areas being in ruins, as a direct result of the U.S. Civil War that had recently concluded and largely bankrupted the nation. The year 71 matters because Catholic sums to 71 using simple English gematria, and the date February 21, or 2/21, matters because the Bavarian Illuminati sums to 221 using the same cipher. At the same time, the Jesuit motto, Jesus, Savior, Amen, equates to 221 with reverse simple English, and once again the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. What is even more hidden is the Gematria of District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871, summing to 201 in reverse Pythagorean, similar to how the Jesuit order equates to 201 with reverse simple English, another very special number to the organization that we will take apart in Chapter 4, when we dissect Event 201, the coronavirus outbreak simulation of October 18, 2019. That again took place on the same day the Military World Games began, in Wuhan, China, a festival with origins in Rome, like the Catholic Church and Jesuits. For now you can know the following about the number in relation to the Jesuits, and that is the Jesuits were reported saved by Catherine the Great, who preserved the Jesuit order, by defying Pope Clement XIV, who ordered the Jesuits to be suppressed on July 21, 1773, and they were, except for the 201 that were protected by Catherine, the leader of Russia at the time. This number becomes all the more fascinating when you recognize that Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, is also the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, a stat pairing perfectly with his birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equating to 201 with simple English, the same as Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, as well as the name Domus Sanctae Marthae, the official name of Suite 201. I should also note that Adam Weishaupt, the Jesuit, eventually changed the name of the Bavarian Illuminati to Order of the Illuminati, equating to 201 with simple English, reminding us of Inauguration Day, 20/1. Another important fact about the date of the District of Columbia Organic Act of 1871, February 21st, is that it is the 52nd day of the year. With regards to 52, the head of the Catholic Church is the Pope, and not by chance. The title sums to 52 using simple English gematria, same as the phrase, the Cabal. Their mission is to rule over Earth, a name also summing to 52 in simple English, and a number pairing with the number of weeks in a year, 52, and the number of cards in a deck, 52. For a few more relevant terms equating to 52, government and White House sum to 52 using Pythagorean gematria, and authority and president equate using the reverse Pythagorean cipher. Just wait until we get to Donald Trump's role in the Cabal's schemes. The man who attended Fordham University, a Jesuit school, in 1964, 52 years before becoming president-elect, and 56 years before the coronavirus outbreak. I'll bring up the part about 56 years because it is the number you will become very familiar with in Chapter 4. For now, you can know that Washington, D.C., Society of Jesus, and coronavirus each equate to 56 in Pythagorean gematria. You can also know that when we get to Chapter 18 about how George Perry Floyd fits in with the Cabal's agenda, a name summing to 201, with simple English gematria, we'll break down the changing of Washington, D.C.'s 16th Street to Black Lives Matter Plaza on June 5, 2020, in tribute to George Floyd, a death that can be expressed as 5/6, similar to the number 56, and reminding us that the Civil Rights Act of 64 came 56 years later, and Black Lives Matter sums to 56 using Pythagorean gematria. Moving on to the third city-state, the City of London. Its origins are so old, the date of establishment has been lost to time. Its autonomy came, however, with the Tonnage Act, that established the Bank of England and a respective territory as an independent entity, July 27, 1694. The Tonnage Act, also known as the Bank of England Act, 1694, made the bank and territory an independent corporation, thus why the City of London is also commonly referred to as the City of London Corporation. In light of this fact, notice how the numerology of the date of establishment corresponds with the simple English gematria of corporation, summing to 144. 7 plus 27 plus 16 plus 94 equals 144. Corporation equals 144. A moment earlier we covered how the United States of America has gematria of 144, and that Washington, D.C. was established 144 days after George Washington's birthday. This is a number relevant to the Jesuit order, as well, summing to 144 with simple English gematria, and it reminds us that Donald Trump, Jesuit educated, posed with Pope Francis at the Vatican, May 24, 2017, the 144th day of the year. Jesuit equals 84. Order equals 60. Jesuit order equals 144. Adding relevance to the number 144, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuit order, would often conclude his letters with the phrase, "Go forth and set the world on fire." If you take the time to apply the code, you'll notice that in Pythagorean gematria that phrase sums to 144 as well. And in light of the Jesuits operating on behalf of the Catholic Church, it is important to know that the nation of England has been under Catholic control since the Treaty of 1213, when King John pledged England and Ireland to the papacy. This was agreed to on October 3, 1213, a date with 38 and 26 numerology connecting both parties involved. King John sums to 38 with reverse Pythagorean, and papacy equates to 26 with Pythagorean. As a reminder, 26 is the number associated with God, as well as crusade, and this historical event, the Treaty of 1213, wasn't long after the Catholic Church came into possession of the code, after the Knights Templar returned with it from the Crusades. Going back to the date of July 27th, the date of the Tonnage Act, it is written 27/7 in the United Kingdom, much like 277. The number 277 is the 59th prime number, and this matters because London, England sums to 59 in Pythagorean gematria, whereas Freemasonry sums to 59 with reverse Pythagorean. Consider modern Freemasonry was established in the city of London in the year 1777, and the number 59 is the 17th prime. Furthermore, the United States of America declared its independence from England in 1776, 59 years later, and Independence Day sums to 277 with reverse simple English. For another point, the word Mason sums to 17 in Pythagorean gematria, tying in perfectly with the year 1717, the establishment of modern Freemasonry. Also relevant to the discussion is the fact that from the Jesuits being recognized by Rome in 1540 to the establishment of modern Freemasonry in 1717 is 177 years later, and where the Jesuit order equates to 177 with simple English. New World Order equates to 177 with reverse simple. What is essential to understand is modern Freemasonry claims its roots in the Knights Templar, who served the Catholic Church same as the Jesuits. Even further, there are many Freemasons who are also Jesuits, as well as being members of other Masonic orders. As we will come to understand, there is a thin line between these secret societies that is most clearly seen in Washington, D.C. This is because it was once the Catholic colony, also known as Rome on the Potomac and controlled by the Jesuits, but is now known as the Masonic City, named after the Freemason George Washington. Even with the newer name Washington, it still has a heavy Jesuit presence due to Georgetown University, the first Jesuit university established in the United States by John Carroll, when he was 54 years of age, on January 23, 1789. It matters that he was 54, born January 8, 1735, because John Carroll and Jesuit order both equate to 54 in Pythagorean gematria. Furthermore, the number 54 is symbolic in terms of time. This is because we're on the Gregorian calendar, a solar calendar, and the word sun sums to 54 in simple English gematria. If you're not aware of the Jesuit logo, it is the sun with the letters IHS inside, as well as the cross and 3 nails, the latter symbolizing those used in the crucifixion of God's Son, Jesus Christ. And for the record, January 23, 1789 was a date with numerology of 49 and 130, both connecting to the Gematria of Washington, as well as a date with 113 numerology, connecting to the value of Scottish, summing to 49 and 113. Consider further both Georgetown and Scottish Rite sum to 57 using Pythagorean, and George Washington, the Freemason, having a first name equating to 57 with simple English, would turn 57 years old February 22, 1789. Days later, just before becoming the first recognized President of the United States, April 30, 1789. I'll add that Washington's inauguration date had numerology of 140, connecting to Washington with reverse simple English, and numerology of 32, connecting the Scottish Rite and the Jesuits as well as America. We'll touch on 32 just ahead. For more relevance to the number 57, 4 of the first 6 presidents were inaugurated at that age, and in light of the name of the capital city, Rome, on the Potomac, it should be noted that Rome sums to 57 with reverse simple English. As for the 4 U.S. presidents to be inaugurated at age 57, they were George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and John Quincy Adams. And for a final point about Georgetown's establishment and how it pays tribute to the Jesuits, as well as the Scottish Rite, the date January 23rd can be written 23/1, similar to 231, the 21st triangular number. This matters because the word Jesuit sums to 21 with Pythagorean and 42 with reverse Pythagorean, just the same as how Georgetown equates to 42 with reverse Pythagorean, connecting back to the Vatican being established on the 42nd day of the Gregorian year. To further illustrate the relationship between the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares a motto with the Jesuits in Latin, Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam. In light of being the 32nd degree, keep in mind there are 32 sun rays in the Jesuit logo, and using Pythagorean gematria, Scottish sums to 32, as does America, the nation established on July 4, 1776, a date with numerology of 32. In the same cipher, Christ also sums to 32, reminding us that we're talking about the society of Jesus. To take it further, the Latin motto, Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, sums to 115 using reverse Pythagorean, similar to how Masonic and France sum to 115 with reverse simple English, also spelled star ADMAIOREMDEIGLORIAM. The reason France matters is because the Jesuits were formed in France, and the Scottish Rite came to power there, the same nation where many of the Masonic founders of the United States of America studied. If you're up for a TV show, take the time to watch Nightfall, set in France. It is focused on the Knights Templars' fallout with the Catholic Church, at a time when Pope Boniface VIII was focused on making all kings and queens of Europe bow the knee to the Roman Catholic Empire. You'll get a kick out of the mention of 65 Knights Templar orders in Europe in episode 6, knowing that Knights Templar and Christianity sum to 65 in Pythagorean gematria, and to be a member of the Knights Templar, you must be a Christian. Coming back to the Latin phrase, Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, it means for the greater glory of God. The translated phrase sums to 351 with reverse simple English, the 26th triangular number, bringing us back to the simple English gematria of God, summing to 26. And on the subject, let us now appreciate how the Council of Nicaea in the year 325 that was held by the Catholic Church to bring about how to worship the offspring of God factors in. To make a long story short, The church, who had brought many pagans under its rulership, was having trouble with people worshipping the sun in the sky instead of worshipping the Son of the virgin birth, who died on the cross for man's sins, and this was a problem they wanted remedied. Following the trail of the Catholic Church, giving birth to the Knights Templar, and the Knights Templar being the roots of modern Freemasonry, and that you must believe in God, or G-D, to be a Freemason, and Catholicism worshipping the Son of God, established and made clear in the year 325, it makes sense that Scottish Rite of Freemasonry sums to 325, using simple English Gematria. At the same time, City of London Corporation sums to 325 with reverse simple English Gematria, and it too is under Jesuit and Freemason control, meaning ultimately it is under Catholic control. Ahead, in Chapter 3, we will uncover what happened on March 25, 2020, or 3/25, while the Bank of England was 325 years old, the heart of the City of London Corporation. It will connect continents and many loose ends, not yet tied. To finish our introduction to Gematria, the language of the Cabal, let us take a moment to think about the flag of the city-state Washington, D.C. On it are 3 stars that symbolize the unholy Trinity. That is the Vatican, the City of London, and D.C. itself. With that in mind, we'll now decode the word Trinity using reverse simple English and reverse Pythagorean. You will notice the word sums to 74, as well as 47. Trinity equals 74 and 47. At this point, we have connected how the numbers 74 and 47 correspond with each of the 3 city-states, and we have learned the mathematical relationships between the digits 7 and 4. One thing that has not been stated yet is the numerology of 74, and 47 equates to 11. 74 is 7 plus 4 equals 11, and 47 is 4 plus 7 equals 11, what is known as the master number. This is because the digit 1 is the only number that divides into all numbers, corresponding with the belief that God is in all things, and God is the master of all things. The number 11 is also the first rep digit, meaning a number that is made up of the same repeating number. 11, 222, 3,333, 44,444, etc. Plus, in numerology terms, when you repeat a number, you magnify its power. With that in mind, I want you to pay mind to the plethora of 47s encoded in these key words that pertain to Washington, D.C., arguably the most powerful city in the world that once again had its cornerstone laid September 18, 1793, a date with numerology of 38, 47, and 137, all numbers summing to 11 in numerology terms. DC equals 47 in reverse simple English. Government equals 47 in reverse Pythagorean. Authority and president equal 47 in Pythagorean. Trump equals 47 in reverse simple English. Star, Caesar equals 47 in simple English. White House equals 47 in reverse Pythagorean. Republican equals 47 in Pythagorean. Whig equals 47 in simple English. Democrat equals 47 in reverse Pythagorean. For a few more examples, it's not an accident that Donald Trump was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the rigged selection, and it's not an accident Obama became president at age 47, alongside the 47th Vice President, Joe Biden, who was at the center of the Ukraine investigation, pure theater. A nation summing to 47 with reverse Pythagorean. It's also not an accident that Abraham Lincoln said 77 years ago, or that the United States birthday can be written 4/7. Speaking of which, the Masonic compass and square used by the Scottish Rite out of France, a nation summing to 47 with simple English, is set at 47 degrees in tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, otherwise known as the Pythagorean theorem. It is wise to note Pythagoras is considered by some to be the first Freemason, and the name Pythagoras equates with Washington. In all 4-base ciphers, a perfect match. Try your skills out and see for yourself. Other words having logical relationships and perfect matchers are plentiful. Try witch and broom, or judge and gavel. Speaking of which, the ladder of 2 sum to 47 using simple English, and not by chance, Trump's first picked Supreme Court Justice, Neil Gorsuch, was confirmed on April 7, 2017. Emphasis on 4\7. As for the 47th problem of Euclid, it symbolizes how to establish a perfectly square foundation, a word summing to 47 with Pythagorean gematria. This pairs well with the fact that L'Enfant, the French Freemason, laid out D.C., the land of 47, where the Washington Monument's cornerstone was laid on the July 4th. In case you're reading this and see the connections and saying things such as, so what? Or, what is the value of knowing this? I want to say 2 things. 1, you've been missing out for years, and 2, you will. Case in point, Monday Night Football, November 11, 2019, the Seattle Seahawks of Washington State were at the San Francisco 49ers as big underdogs on the 130th birthday of Washington State. Not by chance, the Seahawks coach, Pete Carroll, was going for his 130th regular season win and his 140th win, including the postseason, corresponding with the Gematria of Washington, summing to 130 and 140, and sure enough he got them, paying those who took the Seahawks to win more than triple their money. I don't mean to promote gambling, but what I do promote is awareness of how the show is being scripted and who is responsible, and how the world of sports, you can prove it every single day. Of course, American football is credited to Walter Camp, the Scottish Rite Freemason, and it is no accident the NFL had its first Super Bowl in its 47th season. It was foundational. To say a few more things about 47, the reflection of 74. The number we started with. In Hebrew, the word Elohim sums to 47. This is a common name for God of the Old Testament. This factors in with how the name God can be written G-D. The 7th letter and the 4th letter was mentioned earlier. The Cabal is playing God with this knowledge, and not by chance the title, the Cabal, sums to 47 with reverse Pythagorean. The Cabal equals 47. It is for this reason the 33rd President, Harry S. Truman, who became a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, October 9, 1945, was used to pass the National Security Act of 1947 that went into effect on September 18th, the anniversary of the cornerstone being laid for the city of Washington, D.C., a date that has much to do with the Roman Catholic Church. Prior to being enacted, it was introduced in the Senate, a Roman concept, on March 3rd, or 3/3, and it was signed into law by Harry S. Truman on July 26th, the day leaving 158 days left in the year. Truman's signing date matters because the word Freemasonry sums to 158 with reverse simple English, and the date August 15th, or 15/8, is the date the Jesuits were founded in France in 1534, before being officially recognized by Rome. September 27th, 1540. This act created the NSA and the CIA, things that have been used to both spy on the public and steer the public in the interest of the Cabal, who control the nation by the code, and no doubt these agencies. Speaking of which, if you've never seen the film The Truman Show, you must. It is about a man who has every inch of his life secretly tracked and recorded for the sake of being broadcast on a reality TV show, without him ever knowing about any of it. Of course, the Cabal also controls Hollywood, summing to 33, with reverse Pythagorean gematria. And if you didn't know, Hollywood is a reference to the wood of holly trees that have been historically used by druids to make wands for magic spells. And again, spelling is the word and the name of the game. For your learning, I must mention Truman's birthday, May 8, 1884, emphasis on 5/8, as well as the year 84. Using Pythagorean gematria, Freemasonry, secret society, and Solomon's Temple each equate to 58. Of course, Freemasonry is a secret society, and most of its secrets are in legends of Solomon's Temple. It is for this reason that Donald Trump announced from his 58-story Trump Tower that he was running for U.S. President in the 58th U.S. presidential election. The significance of the number is also why he hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day, and it connects to why Hillary Clinton wrote the book What Happened, summing to 58, with Pythagorean gematria, about why she lost the election. Regarding Hillary, keep in mind Freemasonry is a fraternity for men, and when you apply reverse Pythagorean gematria, you'll notice the word fraternal sums to 58 as well. One question we have not yet fully answered is why go through all this trouble of mathematical calculation and date planning and name and word coordinating? As covered, this code is associated with God's way of operating, as it is taught in Kabbalah. Furthermore, there is another important set of occult teachings that the secret societies, including the Cabal, were heavily invested in, and that is Hermeticism. It has 7 sacred principles. The third is vibration, summing to 47 with Pythagorean gematria. This principle expresses that everything, including every number, every letter, every word, every color, every smell, every sound, etc., carries a vibration, and these vibrations have consequences that influence the world. Thus, if you can harness these energies and use them strategically, you can influence outcomes, something that the Cabal is heavily interested in. Keep in mind the word energy sums to 74 in simple English gematria, same as weapon and nuclear. This pairs well with the Trinity test, where Trinity sums to 74 and 47. The first nuclear test taking place in the 47th state, New Mexico. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how this event, part of the Manhattan Project, pairs with the World Trade Centers falling on the 74th meridian west in Manhattan, and the site of 9/11 being called Ground Zero, a term that is used to describe the point above or below ground where an atomic or nuclear weapon explodes. Another event from recent history also tying in was the massive earthquake in Southern California on July 4, 2019, or 7/4, just days before the 74-year anniversary of the Trinity test that took place July 16, 1945. This earthquake's epicenter was located on a military base, and not coincidentally. And much like 9/11, it created a sense of fear, and that is the energy and vibration the Cabal specializes in, pumping it 24/7, 365, for the sake of control. For another 74, the word tarot sums to 74 using simple English, as in tarot cards, and ahead you'll learn much about them, including the 19th card of the tarot deck, the Sun card, and what the Gregorian calendar, a solar calendar, has to do with 19 years cycles. It has everything to do with why September 11th happened in 2001, blamed on 19 hijackers, and why the COVID-19 pandemic happened in 2020, 19 years later. In Chapter 18, we'll bring together George Floyd, who yelled, "I can't breathe," summing to 74 with reverse Pythagorean, and why it was reported an officer kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in the Twin Cities, not unlike how the first plane hit the Twin Towers at 8:46 a.m. on September 11, 2001. George Floyd's killing happened in Gemini as well, the astrological sign known as the twins. And as we'll get into, it was no accident that they scheduled the pre-trial for his murder for September 11, 2020. the 19-year anniversary of the infamous day, especially when the surname Floyd sums to 19 with reverse Pythagorean. On the subject of 9/11, you're likely aware that the 3 buildings fell that day, and it was referred to as the New Pearl Harbor. Those buildings were numbered 1, 2, and 7, similar to the date of Pearl Harbor, December 7, or 12\7, much like 127, corresponding with the reverse simple English gematria of ground zero, summing to 127. The third building to fall, Building 7, was 47 floors tall, and each floor had 47,000 square feet of space. Adding insult to injury, it was known as the Salomon Brothers Building, not too far off from Solomon's temple, and the name Salomon Brothers sums to 211, the 47th prime. Keep in mind, the demise of the World Trade Center was blamed on Osama bin Laden, who was referred to as the Cave Dweller by President George W. Bush. Not by chance, both his name and his nickname sums to 47 using Pythagorean gematria. And trust me, that's not just where the riddles begin, that we will dive much deeper into next chapter. And with regards to these very clear patterns, when you have a moment, I would encourage you to look into the BBC summing to 74 with reverse simple English reporting that Building 7 had fallen, well before it began to collapse. If you have forgotten, Building 7 collapsed several hours after the Twin Towers, and it was not hit by a plane, becoming only the 3rd steel-framed building to ever collapse from a fire in history, all 3 of which collapsed on September 11, 2001, in what is arguably the most obvious lie ever told. To close, there is one last thing you must know about the number 47. It is that the word time sums to 47. With simple English gematria, consider the Tropic of Cancer is at 23.5 degrees north, and the Tropic of Capricorn is at 23.5 degrees south, thus separated by 47 degrees, and they are used to measure time and the respective solstices of the northern and southern hemispheres. Thus, the tropics measure the sun. As you will come to understand, this is what it's all about for the Cabal, using the code to control humanity and control time as we know it. This includes controlling what we know about the past, present, and future. To quote George Orwell's 1984, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past."